Hello, everybody, and it looks like we're live. The red button is telling me to end the broadcast if I need to. Yeah, so greetings, one and all. And this is the first time that I'm using StreamYard. So if any cock ups happen, it's on me. But everything seems to be just fine. I'm just going to double check the stream now. Yep, everything sounds just fine. So today is an interesting stream. It happened at very short notice because of what's been going on. And with me is two people of particular interest who can discuss this very topic. Now, I'm not the most clued in on the fall of Afghanistan and the whole 20-year war that's been going on for pretty much all three of our entire lives. But I will try my best to ask questions and to inform myself as well as inform you, the audience, because these two have very intimate connections with the whole forever wars that have been going on. And I think we should start off with the first one who essentially helped get this all together. So, Artemis, how are you?
I am terrible.
I don't blame you after what we've just seen.
No, I'm just a terrible individual.
Well, yes, that too. And there are a lot of people who think you're terrible. And that's all I'm going to say on that. You know who I mean. So, anyway, what's your connection to the Afghan war?
So currently I am a contractor for the government, and I'm currently facilitating some of the operations going on in the emergency operations of the QRF forces. QRF meaning quick response force that is being sent out.
Mm-hmm. And a late addition to the team, Dr. Allegedly. What's your connection?
I was active in those spheres, working for the United States Navy as an explosives ordnance expert. So I may or may not have seen Afghanistan or Iraq. Whichever. Although when you talk about the forever war, as far as, if you ask me, we should have ended this May 2nd, 2011. Mm-hmm. That is when we should have ended it and pulled out.
Rather than May the 1st, 2021, right? Well, which was the original start date, but we can get into that, can't we? Right?
Yeah, so, we will.
So first off, what I want to know is, because you guys will know more information than I do, how did we actually get into this mess first? So I'll leave it up to one of you to answer first.
Do you want the first, Mitch? Do you want the official government byline, or do you want the fuck around and find out byline?
Do I want the glowy explanation, or do I want the fuck around and find out?
I'll do the glowy. You do the fuck around, find out.
All right, okay. Good cop, bad cop. I like that. Let's do this, guys. All right, good cop first. Go on.
Right. So on September 11th, 2001, a second day that shall forever live in infamy within the United States, we were attacked by several individuals belonging to an organization headed up by one Osama bin Laden. We believed and had received reports at the time said individual was operating out of Afghanistan and the surrounding areas. And you hit us, we hit you. We entered Afghanistan in an attempt to bring this individual and his organization to justice. A feat we accomplished on May 2nd, 2011.
Yeah, that was, for those of you who might not be sure about what he's referring to, that's when they put a cap in his ass in Pakistan.
Actually, he was shot in the head 3 times.
Shot in the head 3 times. Put 3 caps in him. And I actually remember where I was at the time that happened. Well, at least when the news broke, not literally at the time when it happened. And I was at my dad's house, and I was up all night, and he was in bed, and then next thing I know, Osama bin Laden has been killed on BBC News 24 hours, and I'm like, what? Is this real? Am I in a fever dream? Am I hallucinating? And then everything that just went through my head.
I can't speak for Artemis, but at my deployment station, when that news rolled down, that we'd gotten him, finally, every every enlisted man and officer, myself included, that was around, felt that our commander-in-chief was one of us with that simple line, ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
That's where the meme comes from, guys, if you want to know.
There was a lot of drinking that night.
There was, but Artemis, you can't tell me for that one brief moment you didn't feel like Obama was our guy. He was one of us. In that moment.
I looked at that situation and goes, yeah, who's next?
Again, why I think we should have left, because at that point, to my mind, done. The Al-Qaeda's senior leadership, gone. We had cut the head off the snake and chopped the snake up. We should have been out. If not next day, within a month.
Yeah. So
now the fuck around, find out, Artemis.
Go on then.
Do that.
But I was going to ask though, do you not think that the initial reaction, the whole fuck yeah, we finally got him? Do you think that kind of blinded you guys a little bit? Maybe maybe with optimism, you think, oh, finally it's over, we can go home. And then the realization kicked in that, hang on, maybe we're not leaving despite getting the guy,
I don't think we were blinded by it. I think we asked the question and were told a resounding no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the answer was who's next, as in there was no plan of ever coming back. There was who's the next on the list.
Yeah.
As in who is the next bad guy that needed to be taken down. Because that was how everything was couched, was us versus them, good versus evil, that type of thing.
Yeah, it was. I knew we were kind of stuck in when we moved off, because it was before that point. We had the playing cards. We had the deck. We worked our way through it. We had clear, defined targets. We had dare I say it, we had a solid and achievable objective. We heads on pikes, these heads, and we're done. But as Artemis said, we ran through the deck. What was Bin Laden? Ace of Spades, Joker?
Something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, we the final card had been laid, and that should have been time to pack up, take the game home. It's over.
So what was the reaction when you found out that actually no, you're not going home, or at least some of you will be, but most of you will not?
Oh, that's just par for the course. Most people who join the military don't think that far ahead.
Mm-hmm.
It is literally just their day in and day out.
We punch a clock. It's just sometimes the clock punches back or tries to kill you. Yeah, it was. It was quite literally. You still get paid. You still have to follow orders. You still do what you do.
Yeah. So let's have the fuck around and find out version of events.
All right. So back in 2000,
mm-hmm.
maybe 1999, the United States intelligence program had picked up on the fact that Osama bin Laden had been really angry with the fact that the United States was having forces inside of the holy Saudi Arabia, and he wanted them out.
Mm-hmm.
George Bush in 2000 up until 9/11 had multiple reports of imminent terrorist attack and did nothing to stop it. At least 6 months out, they knew who was planning it and what they were trying to do, but didn't take any other effort to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
After 9/11, we had no idea how to. The United States government apparatus didn't know how to, fight a unconventional terrorist cells, because they don't really have an address, they don't have any physical compounds where they stay, because they were all hiding out in fucking caves and shit. So
and we also hamstrung ourselves by our commitment to our own rules of engagement.
Correct. And so the first person that we came across, because we don't know who to fight, we don't know what to do to resolve this issue, other than the American population is really angry, and we have a big ass military. So the United States was like, well, we have this very massive and capable military, which we can call a hammer, and I guess the solutions are going to look like nails. So the first person on the list was going to be Saddam Hussein, where we invaded and destroyed his ass because he refused to sell oil in United States dollars, under the guise of
weapons
he was
of mass
harboring
destruction.
Weapons of mass destruction in Al Qaeda. From there, once people were like, "Oh shit, Al Qaeda is not here. There's no real weapons of mass destruction. What do we do?" Oh, no, they tricked us. They were actually in Afghanistan the entire time. So in 2003, we invaded Afghanistan because that was where the real.
Wasn't it? When you invaded Afghanistan, wasn't it?
We hit Afghanistan before we hit Iraq, but Iraq was always on the table.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
We had to take action because Bin Laden was basically broadcasting that he was from Afghanistan, within the Afghani-Pakistani region, and we couldn't attack Pakistan because it would have pissed off India.
Would it have pissed off India because they're enemies?
Yes, we're allies with India, but if we started something in Pakistan, Pakistan would have aggravated and escalated because we're nominal allies with Pakistan.
No, it's more to do with the fact that Pakistan has nuclear weapons.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah,
that's the reason.
Power, yeah,
that's why. When Pakistan and India broke up, Pakistan got a hold of the nuclear arsenal, well, some of it from India, which is why India never went and crushed Pakistan with its massive military.
I was going to say, if Pakistan got all the nukes, India would have been wiped off the map.
Yeah. So, with that being the case, so we went ahead and fucked up Afghanistan as well as Iraq. Iraq for oil reasons, and then Afghanistan because Osama bin Laden was technically there. So, that's why we went in Afghanistan. The problem is that once we were there, it was a fucking shit show because the enemy looked like all the citizens.
And we didn't have anywhere near enough translators. We were, so potentially unpopular opinion, trying to win hearts and minds in Afghanistan was a bit of a failed policy. We were never going to do it. We needed to be aggressive and surgical. The people never wanted us there. It would have been better if they were convinced the best way to get us out was to give up Taliban and Al-Qaeda fighters, and then that would get us to leave.
Basically assert dominance and make them realize, look, we're not going to beat around the bush here. These want
the fuckers guys. We want. The longer you make us wait, the worse it's going to get.
Exactly. I mean, it is a well, you can call it a country, it's an area of the world that are known for its defiance. I mean, it's the graveyard of empires for a reason. It doesn't matter how big you are. You could be Alexander the Great. You could be the British or the British Raj. You could be the Soviets. They don't care.
Since Lawrence, T.C. Lawrence of Arabia, who sort of won over the Bedouins and then fucking betrayed them.
Well, he didn't. It wasn't him who did it. It was his higher-ups that betrayed him.
Yeah, but the thing is, they fucking remember.
Oh yeah, well, neither did he. He was always more sympathetic to them until the day he died. From what I've read,
but that's the thing. They remember. So if you came in playing that villain that they've been told, where it's like, look, we want our goal. Give us our goal, and we'll leave.
Yeah.
So he was all willing. Like, we're going to get off topic if we go into history. But anyway, so back to the bad cop narrative. Go on.
So due to the Afghan paper leaks, we found out that the current generals who were overseeing the Afghan campaign and Iraq had no idea what metric to use to describe as a victory. But they did know that they could, whatever happens, for example, if things are looking good, like crime is down, terrorist attacks are down, that's because we have more soldiers in there. So if we pump more soldiers into the area, it'll be even better. Well, even if the inverse is happening, if there's more terrorist attacks, more bombings, more child suicide attacks, we'll just send more soldiers in there because that'll keep it down. So every answer to the solution was to put more people on the ground as a means to keep the war going. That's why the surge happened under Obama, is because it was failing then, and then they upped the amount of soldiers in there to basically plug a hole. But the problem is that the hole is literally the Afghan people, because the Afghan people and the Taliban are one and the same. They have the same ideologies, the same cultural heritage, and have been living in the same areas. They could just melt back into the citizenry at any point in time. Some of them came over from Uzbekistan and Tajikistan, I think, if I'm getting my geography correctly.
I mean, the whole place has weird borders where they're not really borders.
It's similar to the ISIS conundrum. As long as you spoke Arabic, Farsi, Urdu, Pashmin, any of the local village languages, you were welcomed, and no one was really checking papers at the time.
Yeah. So the issue was that there was no end game. We were there, and the issue is that no president wanted to be the one that had to pull out because it was going to be an utter shit show and collapse. Everybody knew it. The military-industrial complex kept saying, "Well, we have a bigger and better idea for what to use," which is small diameter bombs, what have you, and those people kept getting into power. So the solution was always more war, keep going. Let's do the next 6 months. I can't remember who coined that term, but it was a
pare down in 6 months. It sounds like a Rumsfeld term, I'm going to be honest. It definitely kicked up after the elimination of bin Laden, because he was their supreme boogeyman for the longest time. You could pin anything on needing to get bin Laden. A whisper that he had been through an area in the past. I think some of the most extreme ones he'd been sighted in an area 4 months ago. So we razed everything to the ground.
It seems very Vietnam-like. They would go into the jungle or into the rural areas and just raze villages if there was even a hint that there was like a Viet Cong soldier or a troop of soldiers there. Just
not quite that bad, because it wasn't that there was.
I don't mean as bad. I mean, it's like analogous. Sorry.
Yeah, that's kind of fair, but it was more we encountered resistance and we hit back against that resistance aggressively.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
The they talk about an unwinnable war, and it's only unwinnable because we weren't allowed to win it. If we had committed to sort of a McCarthy level plan, probably could have won, probably would have reduced most of the country to ash that glows, at midnight.
You mean turning the whole country into glowies?
You don't. Well, you don't have to worry about an insurgence amongst the local population if there no longer is a local population.
Correct, but due to the humanitarian,
genocide is off the table.
Yes, we don't want to turn them into glass sculptures, do we?
No. So the issue is that the United States uses all of its cards in the humanitarian pile to say that the reason we're invading countries is due to humanitarian crises, which is the same card that Russia pulled when it came to Crimea.
And so we're saving ethnic Russians. Yeah.
So the issue is if we start glassing areas, we can't really pull that card anymore, even if everybody knows that that's what we're doing, just to get into and invade a country.
I'm sure that you guys might be aware of this, but there's a quote from Sir Edward Grey, who was like the British Foreign Secretary during World War One, or at least pre-World War One he was, and he was talking to the American ambassador. I saw it in Empire by Niall Ferguson, and they were talking about Mexico. And Gray asked, I think it was Gray, he might have been Asquith, but he said, so you're going into Mexico, you're invading them, and what's the goal? And the guy says, the ambassador says, we're going to go in there and we're going to invade them, and we're going to make sure that they vote a certain way because we believe in democracy and all this stuff. so that they learn to rule themselves. And then Edward Grey says, well, what if they vote in the way that you don't like, so that they learn to live in a different way? And then the American guy says, well, we're going to invade them again. And then the British guy asks, well, for how long? He says, until they actually finally do what we want them to do. And I think the British guy then finally asks, well, you could just invade them. That's what we do, and conquer them. That's what it sounds like to me. Like, because one of the quotes that you guys mentioned was, you're going to go in there for another 6 months, another year, until something goes the way that you want it to. But of course,
we just need to secure their elections. Oh no, they've had this fraud. We need to re-secure this. Oh, there's been it's because why
putting a gun at somebody and saying don't commit fraud, right? That's going to work.
Well, again, it's in my opinion why the only appropriate time, the best time to pull out would have been immediately after the death of bin Laden, because at that point the message it sends is, fuck with us, we will hunt you down wherever you are and kill you. And then pulling out immediately after that just makes it clear to the rest of the world what it was about, and people may not have liked it, they would have respected it.
Possibly. So is there any more to the narrative, or have we covered it?
So other than that, the one of the issues is that the way that Afghanistan is set up, there's a large amount of resources in it, rare earth metals, that the United States wants. That's the only reason the United States gave a shit about Afghanistan. Other than that, the strategic importance of having bases in Afghanistan and Iraq to encircle Iran cannot be understated.
True. Also, access to various oil pipelines and allowing us to dictate some of the directionality.
And the Caspian Sea, I know it's not the most important sea in the world, but you could use it. I think Iran has a border there. I might be wrong.
Yeah,
you could use that to some possible invasion point,
The oil and the oil fields were actually secondary compared to securing the rare earth minerals and actual emplacements.
Because oil is actually it's very common in the world. I mean, people go on about, oh, we're going to run out in like 10, 15, 20, 50 years. Like, no, actually, it's quite sustainable.
Well, yeah, Biden shut down the Keystone pipeline and all this other stuff. If we were that hard up for oil, that would have been it. But it's a convenient straw man.
So all that leads up to pretty much present day. So we need to go back about 1 or 2 years, whenever the negotiations under Trump started. So basically, Trump gets elected and he announces that he wants to finally pull out. They did so in Iraq. Was that in the mid-2010s, was it?
Iraq is actually... We have a small... What are we calling it now, Artemis? A peacekeeping force?
Yes, we have a... it's SFAC or SFAB. Yeah. Basically, they are non-combatant military liaisons meant to train units.
Advisors, I think is what they call them, right?
Well, there are military advisors, and then there's SFAB units, which is something I work alongside from time to time. Basically, they're special for.
They're
I can't remember what to call them.
They are very, very dangerous individuals who we keep a standing garrison of under the auspices of, oh, they're there to train, but they also coincidentally are exactly what you would want as a rapid strike and response team.
So security force assistant brigades, that's what they were.
Commandos, essentially. That's what.
Well, actually, they are mostly NCOs and higher level officers that are embedded into the ranks of units to train alongside their commands. And basically, they're meant to take over really quickly and train them for periods of time. Basically, they are the upper echelons of a battalion, but there's multiple of them.
Yeah. So Trump starts negotiating with not just the Afghan government, but also the Taliban and all the various warlords, because it's not just the Taliban. For years, there's been different tribes and warlords that have ruled over these different provinces and areas and villages and towns for millennia. So they all get together and then they start negotiating, and eventually a peace deal was struck between all the factions, right? So do you guys have
might be a better term than
armistice?
peace deal.
Yes, yeah, armistice.
So they didn't actually negotiate with everybody. They negotiated.
Not with everybody, yeah. Maybe I was exaggerating a bit, but
No. They Trump intentionally left out the Afghan government from peacekeeping talks.
Interesting.
Yeah,
No, I mean peace negotiations, because Trump understood that the intel that he was getting showed that the Afghan government and the soldiers were going to crumble.
Of course, they were.
Which is why he had a unilateral discussion with the Taliban, because that was the only group he needed, because he knew that they were just going to overtake everything.
Yeah. So, did you guys know anything about the deal? Is there any important details that the audience might need to know?
I mean, they guaranteed the release of the current Taliban leader.
Ah, did they? Interesting.
Yep. They currently he is currently on his way back.
So the idea was that America would pull out all their troops, or at least most of them. Was it every single person? Yeah. 2,000
were going to be left.
Mm-hmm.
So it was going to be the same. Yeah, it was going to be the same deal as Iraq.
Mm-hmm. And the Taliban were, as far as we were, perfectly okay with that. They signed the dotted line and everything, as long as they got their opium fields and God knows what else they want to do, because I guess they're right. This is what I was thinking about today when I heard about this via Sticks, because he talked about that. And I guess at some point they must have thought, well, we're probably never going to gain power again for a long time, as long as America is still in the picture. So maybe a position of key influence would be better than outright controlling the country, right? At least at the present situation that they were in, right? Would you say that?
Last year around, I think, August, November timeframe, we had military operations in collaboration with the Taliban in certain areas.
Really?
Correct.
Wow. What was that about?
It was part of the negotiation deals that the Taliban would oust the Al-Qaeda and the ISIS from.
Okay.
So the Taliban...
the Mujahideen .2 CIA Boogaloo, essentially.
So, because that's what a lot of people don't realize is that I think that's actually your phone's going off.
Yeah, sounds like now.
Boomerisms, guys. So, I guess this is what people don't realize is that Al Qaeda and the Taliban are actually different. Although that doesn't mean they don't ally in certain time periods, but they're not the same. They're not one and the same. They're actually separate. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
It's same people, different groups, kind of like how ISIS and ISIL are also different. To the outside, there's no functional difference. They're all angry brown people.
they're all angry towelettes, right?
Yeah. But it was a show of good faith from the Taliban in order to get the United States to have more amicable deals with them.
Yeah.
So but that lasted about 3 or 4 weeks, as far as I was aware. I think if you look it up, you should be able to find some of that.
Yeah. So basically, they ousted a lot of Al Qaeda strong points and ISIS strong points that were still around. Then all the Americans really what you guys had to do was just leave, right? That was your end of the bargain, essentially.
Release a few key individuals and
release a few hostages.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out. Except for the 2,000, which everybody agreed could stay.
And that was probably going to be Kabul itself. Was going to be the
we weren't going to give up our strong point in that region of the world, but it was more or less understood. We'll keep our little pocket. The rest of the country is yours.
Yep.
But the election happened.
Correct.
And Biden became president, whether you feel it's legitimate or not. But that's not really the point. He became president, and he had different ideas. Now, I've only heard this from biased sources. Sticks is good and Razor Fist are good, but they're biased. And from what they say, I'm sure the left would say something completely different. Biden had other ideas about the pullout. Everything was already arranged. In fact, even the material that the Americans had was agreed that they would get rid of that as well. They would take that back to America. He decided to delay the pullout to, what month was it? Was it August?
9/11.
Or July? 9/11. So they would have left in September.
Yeah, they've been out by September 11th.
Yeah.
pushed it by 3 to 4 months.
And that angered not just the Taliban, but it also angered the government. But they just grumbled and allowed the Americans to, just to Biden to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to, the thing, I'm going to push back to 9/11 because apparently what these people say, he wanted to steal Trump's thunder so that Trump wouldn't be the man that pulled America out of
They didn't allow it. He gave them more time to plan their counteroffensive.
Right.
Not
Yes.
Which is one part of it. The other part of it is there is a not illegitimate thought that had Trump not, had Trump made it until 2024, that they might have sat back a little more because everything about the dude screams vengeful reprisal.
Yeah, that's what he did with North Korea, didn't he? He basically threatened nuclear annihilation, and he did it in such a way that they actually were convinced he might just be mad enough to do it. So they ended up going to the negotiations table, which ended up being quite fruitful, I would say. I mean, it didn't end the war because the war technically is still going, but the two countries hadn't been closer until that point.
So I am putting a link to an article to both of you guys in your DMs. I should probably just put it into
You can post it in private chat there on the stream.
I'm not using my. I'm not going to use my phone because that's just the opportunity for me to exit out of the chat on accident. So there you go. I said that to you guys. I'll also post this in general on the DM on the. Do
you want me to show it up on the on the stream?
Of course, she claims she had a bloody key roll and now she's backing off.
So yeah, so here it is. If you want to show that on stream.
I'll just get the window up. Give me a sec. There we are. There we are, guys. So where's Kamala? Kamala Harris claims she had key role in removing US troops from Afghanistan, but now silent since Taliban took over. This is from The Sun. So for the Brits out there, take it with a pinch of salt. So go on.
So she had leaked about a month or two ago. I'm pretty sure that she was the last one in the room and helped make the decision for Biden.
Really?
To pull out. And that they were going to use Biden and Kamala Harris's plan to pull out. And this is the reason why they moved it away from the original deal. Because they didn't want to follow Trump's plan because that would have been Trump's plan. He would have gotten credit for it if they would just follow through. So the issue is that if they would have followed Trump's plan, the Taliban would not have been overrunning Kabul until now because the Taliban still had to get all of its forces ready. It didn't have any type of, because if you look right now, right, the amount of troops we had last 3 months and the amount of troops we had up until a week ago is the exact same. There was no change in troop levels at all. The reason why the Taliban are attacking now is because the Taliban had to come back over the borders and assemble their units in order to do their lightning strike across Afghanistan. There was no way that they were going to have enough manpower to overrun if we had just followed the deadline of Trump's pullout.
They literally would have suffered from material shortages, and then either the not to assume that the Afghan National Army could have done things, but you could, hope that if you see a large force coming, you might have done something about it, or at least, not died quite so quickly and ran away quite so often.
Yeah, the issue is that Biden chose to literally drag his feet and do nothing. Not even pulling out, because Bagram didn't get emptied until last month, fully.
Which means, unfortunately, leaving behind material and sort of gifting war gear to the enemy.
Yeah,
zero being pulled out would have been useful, or at least tanks and vehicles appropriately scuttled and destroyed. All right.
Yeah. There was zero asset denial practices utilized during this withdrawal from Bagram, which gave the Taliban all of this equipment, because the Afghan army was also in a joint base with Bagram Air Base. That's usually how they run things. The Air Force is usually attached to an army post to provide security for the air base. The issue is that they left a F-15 flight simulator pod on post on Bagram Air Base, in which the Taliban had taken control of.
Do we know if it's actually functional?
Yes, it was. That was how they figured out what it was. It's because they turned it on.
They're not stupid.
It's not assuming they're stupid, but I could, if you gave me, 20 Abrams tanks, but you had also given me 40 thermite grenades, you would have 20 useless slabs of armor and steel.
Well, you would know where to plant the grenade in order to destroy it anyway, right?
There's quite literally fucking indents for where you put it to scuttle these vehicles.
A lot of communication terminals, that have top secret crypto keys in them, are the shelters that the equipment is in is made with flammable metal that burns it melts at a high temperature that thermite grenades can utilize. So, for example, a 93 Echo van, you don't have to know what it is, but it's basically a terminal that shoots the satellites. You can melt that bitch pretty easily with one grenade. All of the commo in it gone, turn to slag. And that's
can also zero out. I hope this shit was at least zeroed out.
I fucking doubt it.
Yeah, that's the problem. So standard protocol for sort of scuttling a tank, for those who don't know, it's assuming you have to abandon your tank. You've somehow got completely cut off. You've got a thermite grenade for the breach, so you can put it through to melt it, so it's no longer usable as a gun. You have another thermite grenade for the engine, so it's no longer, usable like as a transport.
Could that actually blow up the tank itself, or is that just a video game logic thing?
It usually that is another option. If you have to scuttle a tank and there's another friendly tank nearby, your TC will call over to that other TC, and when you and your boys are out, they'll pump 3 or 4 rounds from the main gun into that tank and watch as it goes boom.
The issue is that the only way to take out an entire tank the way you're thinking is that you have to impact the magazine where the ammunition is stored. But the Abrams tank has the ammunition behind a blast door to keep the people from being murdered.
You can absolutely demolish a tank, but you would still probably do that. Like when you scuttle a tank, we don't actually scuttle the ammunition. Assuming it's a solo scuttling. But like if there's another friendly tank nearby and I need to scuttle my tank, it's going to be, I will still drop the thermite to take the breach out, because I'll still take the gun out, but I won't fuck around with the engine. I won't fuck around with the ammo. I might literally just take a machine gun, zero out the radio, and then for insurance, I have a machine gun in a tank. I will pull the trigger pointing towards that radio and just empty it. And that radio's scuttled. Then I will run away from my tank, and the friendly tank will put a round into my tank's engine block and another round directly into my tank's magazine. And that's scuttled.
So it's something that's been going. So since people found out that the Taliban captured all that American military equipment, war gear, a lot of people have been speculating over whether it was on purpose or was it incompetence. So it depends largely on where you are. So like a lot of people on the more, I don't know, libertarian / NRX kind of area types, they would have said that it was on purpose. But then you've got other people who would say it's just stupidity. So I wonder what you guys think, because you're more closer than anybody, really.
It's a bit of a split. So part of it is we were supplying the ANA. We were supplying them with some things, but the F-15 sim pod, I don't think we were training the ANA for air superiority. Blackhawks, no. More M204s, M60s, M16s, like small arms ammunition, shoulder-mounted rockets, or LAWs, SMAWs, all of those. Absolutely. Like, yeah, that was supposed to be for the ANA. Anything bigger than like a couple Humvees, maybe MRAPs and a Honey Badger? No. Nothing more complicated than a steering wheel, gas pedal, and brake. Where do you fall on that, Artemis? Or have I kind of summed it up?
The issue is that the United States military, it takes at least a month or two to pull out of an area. Not simply just to put all of get up and leave, but you have to make sure to dismantle equipment that is high priority, as in things you will need for a next engagement. Then you have to load them, and then you have to ship them out. Not only that, but you have to canvass the entire area to make sure you haven't left anything sensitive. The fact that they didn't even tell the fucking Afghan army that they were leaving Bagram Air Base is a fucking problem. They left the entire thing unmanned.
So the Taliban just walked in.
They had looters, fucking looters that they thought were Taliban, already in Bagram Air Base by the time the Afghan army showed up, 6 hours after they had left.
So it's a bit of incompetency, but also partially.
Not a bit. A strategic airbase with fucking Eagle Scout drones, mind you, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment just left there is a fucking problem. And do you know why they left it there?
Oh no, what I meant
was
was
given it away if they actually used the Eagles to take out other vital assets.
No, they couldn't find anybody to fucking sell it to, so they left it there. It was too costly to take with them.
I mean,
so basically, what Artemis is saying is that the reason why they left it was incompetence, as opposed to they did it on purpose to maybe start another war, is what a lot of people are saying.
No, yeah. So, go ahead.
I was going to say, but I think it's more incompetence than an inability to sell it, because more than once on my deployment, we had secured caches or dumps of old Soviet munitions. And if we were pushed into a position where it was going to be untenable for us to hold it until we could dispose of it properly, without fail, I would receive the order to wire up the pile, and then literally at the edge of my detonator's range, click, click, boom. Like, it's, yeah, I know we fucking do it. I've done it. Repeat.
I thought, why didn't they just rig it up? That's just
because
weird.
So here's another thing, right? They had the issue is that we left multiple fucking helicopters, Chinooks in Bagram, and some other things, and we had to send. We were sending B-52s just yesterday to go blow them up. Like, because
B-52s.
Yes. As in, we were going to carpet bomb the fucking airstrip in Bagram.
Will outlive all of us. The B-52 is immortal.
Isn't that the Strata Fortress?
Pretty much.
Is that still the World War II airplane?
Yes.
Isn't it? Still.
No, it's a little bit different. It's Cold War, Vietnam / North Korea War.
I'm thinking of a different one.
They took out the flying fortress turrets, but yeah, basically it's the same fucking thing. It's a high altitude, low speed. It tends to fly out of SAM range. Just range.
E-17 is what I'm thinking of. I guess.
Yeah. But that was yesterday that they were sending out B-52s to go bombard the fucking tarmacs to take out those helicopters because, again, none of this was planned correctly. And besides, so at some certain points, total incompetence is intentional because there are so many PCCs and PCIs being done before you do a mission that you have like 3 or 4 checks on whether or not you've done something correctly. The fact that obviously nobody did them is fucking retarded to me. Like, if let's say here, not only was F-15s left there, they had MRAP videos, which is mine-resistant, armored, protected vehicles.
Up-armored Humvees, if you don't know.
Well, they're more massive than Humvees. They're just super fucking like semi trucks compared to Humvees.
Are they more like armored cars, nearly?
Well, they're twice the size of armored cars, height wise.
They're
just
the
massive
response
buses.
to IEDs. It's why they went from direct impact to attempting to flip or topple the vehicle, because an MRAP doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, it just pushes the blast aside. Because the bottom of the MRAP is a V shape, it just pushes it away out the sides.
Look, I'm joking, but you guys honestly should have got some Toyotas.
Yeah, I mean, that's
the Toyota Hilux is a quick, fast technical, but it doesn't do too well against IEDs.
Yeah. I was only joking, but at
So
least it will still run.
We should probably get forward a little bit to the current shit show that's going on at the Kabul airport.
Yeah. So what's happening? So the fall of Kabul. Do you guys want to talk about that as well, or is that skipping a bit too far behind?
That's not really skipping too far ahead, but it's also not that much to fucking tell. The Afghan National Army basically surrendered. If this had been done with any fucking sense, it would have been like a collapsing retreat or collapsing defensive lines where basically we consolidated to a nucleus of power. So what Biden said is, people ask why we aren't evacuating. Well, we're, this, that, and the other, and No. It's because you pulled everything out so fast. I don't think these people didn't want to evacuate. I think the people who weren't in close enough proximity couldn't fucking get on a chopper or couldn't fucking get on a plane. Whereas if you have the actual tactical maneuver of a collapsing fucking, line, hey, we're pulling back. You have a day.
Yeah, there's a thing called a tactical withdrawal. That did not happen here.
And
so
the tactical being routed is different than a tactical withdrawal. A tactical withdrawal is organized, and if you're attacked during a tactical withdrawal, you still have the ability to hit back, push back, and cause casualties.
Yeah, which is called a
is a panicked fleeing. We got routed is what happened.
Well,
that's what I was saying. You got routed, because I know what tactical withdrawal is. I was just saying that what happened here was a rout.
Oh yeah, no.
There was no screening force for the so while there was a retreat, there was no screen for the push.
No rear guard, right? Yeah.
So the issue here is that Biden had initially said we're going to need about 5,000 troops into Kabul or into Afghanistan to help with the evacuation / withdraw. Which at this point it's not a withdrawal; it's an evacuation. A withdrawal would be a slow, intentional movement of equipment and material and manpower out of an area. This is a fleeing action. This is a evacuation. This is a
run away.
Every man for himself.
So the issue here is that he went from 5,000. He increased it again, adding another battalion of 82nd Airborne. And then another battalion of 82nd Airborne, whom I just saw one of my leave like 2 years ago, because he got selected with his battalion to go, which is a Cure MP units. They are the guys with the fucking automatic grenade launcher vehicles that are now being sent out there. Now, that was 2 days ago. By the time he would get there was when they're already surrounding Kabul airport in Kabul, because they went into Kabul last night. So the issue here is that now you're going to there's nowhere to spread out because the Taliban are already in Kabul. They're already gotten up to the embassy, up in towards the airfield, the airport. Now, if I don't know if you have it on you in your DMs.
Let's have a look.
Let's see, which one is it? It is
the Kamala Harris one, but I'm not going.
No, I think I'll pull it from Dr. Allegedly's thing.
Mm-hmm.
So let me pull this. Copy to yours. So if you look here.
All right, I'll just bring that up. Hang on a sec.
So now there are videos of just outside of the airport, as in the Taliban have surrounded it.
I'll just show people this. Give me just a couple of seconds. Here we are. There it is, and I'll just play the clip. It's only about 4 seconds. Did they try to shoot that guy off the wall then?
Yeah, because this is the outside. This is the outside of the airport. Because they wouldn't graffiti the inside, or they wouldn't put barriers on the inside, right? This is the outside of the airport. This guy is trying to get out of the airport, and the Taliban are shooting at him, forcing him off the wall. He probably got hit in the leg, at least with a ricochet, if not with a direct round.
I mean, I'd bet it.
Because that popped right behind his leg. So you have the Taliban shooting and have posted themselves all around this fucking airport. The airports are flat areas. They have to be to get aircraft off the ground. They have hangars that are mostly there to protect you from weather, wind, and from the sun. There's not that much protection where they're sitting. You have fucking military personnel laying on the ground with their fucking 240 Bravos, posting up and defending the area from fucking Afghan civilians. There's like fucking 40,000 of them forcing their way into this goddamn airport. As the Taliban shove them and ever enclose that area. So here's the problem. You now have Biden saying he's going to put 7,000 troops in Afghanistan.
Where?
Exactly. You have 7,000 people are supposed to be shoved into this fucking airport, soldiers into this airport to help with evacuation and to maintain the area. That's what his press announcement said, right? To secure the airport. The problem is the Taliban have already secured the civilian side of the airport. They're already inside the building. I don't know what he's talking about, but here's an issue, right? With all paramilitary organizations, Dr. Allegedly, you should know this. How good are they at following commands for any period of time?
Depends how long the money's good for, and until they get an actual armed force or threat that's actually difficult. So
I am giving it about less than 24 hours before a Taliban fighter decides that the asshole American in front of him should be shot. And then shit hits the fan. Because there's no way in hell all Taliban forces are going to equally follow orders as like a trained military. There are going to be people who just don't give a shit and want to score a victory point for Allah. So you have 7,000 soldiers are going to be put onto this fucking airfield. At this point, only half of them are even there at most, because they've already suspended flights because of all the civilians getting in the way of aircraft and holding on to them. So they have to clear the airfield and make sure that there's nobody going to get sucked up into the engines, because once you have a downed aircraft sitting on the strip, nobody else can get through. So one of the things is that if they were to try to take off safely or to try to land safely, they would have to secure this massive area. That means they would have to push out farther than the airport to keep people from bombarding it with fucking mortar rounds and rockets.
And
that would mean they would.
If you don't mind me interjecting, I was just thinking, he's sending 7,000 men or women, whatever, into the. It's the most diverse American military ever. It's men. So he's sending 7,000 men to defend this massive. Well, I don't know how big the airport is, but
it's not very big.
It's not a very big airport, but it's still a fairly big chunk of land. Nonetheless, it has to be. So, how are they going to defend that, especially since they need to push out in this big line to stop it from being bombed, when the Taliban are probably in their tens of thousands?
So the issue is
Americans can't handle that amount. But
you're thinking of it as in a line, as in like the Civil War. No, they have to spread out in a circle, which makes.
Oh no, I know. It's not a line of men. It's they're spread out and in circles in.
So
I was just
the
thinking,
issue,
are they not too spread out though?
So 7,000 people with heavy weapons and armored vehicles. It can cover a good amount of land. The issue is that there's so many vantage points from which that they can be shot at from, and that the Taliban can melt into the civilian population that's constantly streaming into the airport to get away, is the problem. And the issue is that the Taliban and the Americans don't trust each other, obviously, and that the moment one side starts opening fire for whatever reason against the other, then you're going to see a bloodbath. Because the moment the Americans start getting more forces into the area and there starts to be live gunfire, the Taliban are going to assume that the Americans are reinforcing to take back Kabul, and they're just not going to allow that. Because the Taliban are so close to or pretty much claimed victory, that they're not going to allow the Americans to flood Kabul with fucking soldiers on the ground. And
certainly not again.
Yeah, certainly not again. They're not going to allow it to happen twice. And this is the issue is that sorry. There's some of the people commenting in the chat.
I have a little funny meme comment. The Taliban will return to God's money, which is gold and silver. Are they Austrian economists?
So the issue here is that the United States has to, from their own words, evacuate roughly 80,000 people to get all of the interpreters and all the helpers who had helped the United States, like with interpreting, informants, or just simply servicing U.S. bases. Like the special operations units in Afghanistan, the Afghan special forces are all dead. They were all in Kandahar, shot and killed. They were dragged out of their homes and shot in front of them.
Neighbors,
so they're all gone.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, Biden wants to flood the airport with a bunch of manpower and aircraft. There's nowhere for these people to go because you have to fly out one at a time. So at a certain point, the Taliban are going to say, leave now. And there's nowhere for 7,000 fucking people to go because we're pushing more people in as we're taking them out. And it's as soon as one side starts opening fire, then the Taliban are going to go, okay, converge on the airport, start bombarding it, because they have all of our equipment now. They have all of our mortars. They have all of our explosives. They have all of our rockets. They're just going to use everything and throw it at us. So there's going to be a large amount of U.S. casualties if this shit goes sideways more than it already has. Like, this is a very, very tenuous situation.
And it's all Biden's fault, really. Should have followed the plan. They had one in place, but his egotism, his hubris got in the way, I guess.
Well,
really, ultimately.
Let me see if I can't find it here, because I have a quote from...
I guess we could say that the Orange Man bad mentality has actually killed people.
Yes.
So, is there anything else we need to cover? Because I'm trying to remember things.
I mean, so it's not all doom and gloom.
Mm-hmm.
The Taliban has come out strong with the executing of anyone suspected of sexual abuse against children. So they are killing pedophiles.
So pederasty is not in Taliban 2.0, right?
Yeah, but they also that there's people claiming that the Taliban have started knocking on doors, saying any woman or girl that is 15 or older needs to have a husband.
A widow under the age of 40.
Yep, will have a assigned husband.
That's
who is single. It's not like if your daughter is already engaged.
Yeah,
that she will be given a new husband. No. If you've been living a good life with a reasonable courtship and arranged marriage, your daughter is fine. Your daughter will be safe.
Oh yeah. Also,
speed dating, guys.
So I posted something to you, Mitch, and Dr. Legend.
Bring that up. Hang on a sec.
Yeah, it's the other one. So POTUS did tweet out in agreement sort of with me that after taking out Osama bin Laden and the major leaders of Al-Qaeda, we should have left. The only problem is, Joe, you didn't fucking say that years ago. You didn't say that when you were the vice fucking president. You could have been, hey, Obama, we killed that
the thing.
Osama bin Laden, Obama bin Sinan, whoever he was, he's gone now. We should probably get out of Afghanistan. So if you didn't say it back then, no credit. No credit.
So this is Lara Seligman. I don't know who she is. Is she a journal? Yeah, Politico. She says, asked what went wrong in Afghanistan, Biden's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, says, POTUS didn't think it was inevitable the Taliban would take control. Oh my God. He thought
anyone
the
who
security
was
forces
there knew the security forces were going to fall.
We'll just continue, though. He thought the Afghan security forces, who Americans trained for 20 years, could fight back. When push came to shove, they decided to not fight for their country. I guess that could be Sullivan saying that. I don't know. Sullivan declines to confirm that POTUS will address the. Well, we know he did. We can talk about that later. But
yeah.
But so this is part of the reason why I think a lot of it's incompetency. Though again, some of it is on purpose, as you said, Artemis. But Trump knew that they would crumble.
Yeah.
How did he think that they wouldn't? I mean, maybe they're not feeding him the information, but I don't know. He must have known. He must have been told, or did he forget in his dementia-ridden state? I don't know. I mean, the way I see it is, I might be totally wrong, but from what I've heard, essentially the Afghan army thought, nah, we're not going to fight. Why should we fight for this government that's not even legitimate? Essentially, a lot of them. And I don't agree with them, but I don't blame them. I mean, what would you do in that situation?
Well, so I posted another thing. So the person, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I'm pretty sure is what Mark Milley is. Mm-hmm. He's the same guy that wanted to understand white rage.
Oh yeah.
And he stated that they, whenever you get this up, but
I will. Yeah.
He was in full confidence of the Afghan military.
Why am I not surprised that somebody like him thinks, oh, everything will be fine? It's a critical drunkard. Nah, it'll be fine. That's literally what they were thinking. Nah, it'll be fine. We'll just rush it. It'll be fine.
What's the worst that can happen?
It's white rage we need to concern ourselves about.
Mass fucking death.
So is this a video? So
Yep.
hopefully, I think the audience can hear it on the on stream. I'll just play it.
I'm not hearing anything.
Can you not hear it? Hang on a sec. You might not be able to hear it, but maybe the audience can. Oh, Fox can't hear. Foxy can't hear it. Then nobody can hear it. Like this is why it's the first time I'm using it, guys. Hang on, I'll try and see if people can. Is there a thing? Hang on, that I can do? Maybe. So I'll just stop sharing. See what I can do. I'll just look up StreamYard audio from window.
Just let everybody know, all the viewers, he didn't take the time to actually test his equipment or technology.
No, I didn't have the time, unfortunately.
Yeah, this man said, "Fuck it, we'll do it live."
Ah, okay, I know how to do it. Right, hang on. I know how to do it now, guys. Don't worry. Just one button wasn't clicked. It's very simple. There we are. Now it should work. All right. Take 2. Can you hear that? So
I
can you
can't
guys
hear
hear that?
shit, but
You can't hear
Nope.
that.
Nope, not even on the
trying
stream.
to teach critical race theory at West Point. That's not what we need at West Point.
How can they not hear it when I literally click the button, share audio? Right, hang on. Maybe I need to share my whole window for that to work. Hang on. And that means you'll see all my hundreds of tabs. Hang on a sec. Let me just do that again. Share window, or share screen, share audio. All right. We'll try that, and then we'll just go on to the... I'll just go to the thing, post it here. There we go. Okay, let's see if this works.
With respect to Afghanistan, our primary military objective at this point is a change of mission to conduct a
Yep, I can hear it.
Ah, yeah, okay.
and deliberate retrograde of U.S. forces from Afghanistan in good order. We will do this in a synchronized fashion, shoulder to shoulder with our allies and NATO partners, and we've been steadily reducing our presence for almost a decade, and we are now in the final phase of that strategic retrograde. As you know, we've been transferring steadily functions and responsibilities to the Afghan security forces for a considerable amount of time. The President of the United States has given us a window to be complete no later than September. I don't want to here put precise dates in public on our exact milestones because there are many variables that will factor in to the ultimate outcome. I'm confident, however, that our ability to meet the objective in the time frame that the President has directed.
What a joke. Like, what a joke. That didn't
Yes.
age quite so well.
Correct.
I mean, I'd love to say it's a joke, but jokes make me laugh.
Yeah. Remember, guys, this is what's his rank? What's his
General.
He's
He's general.
Yeah.
Yep.
So is he just like the one that they bring out for doing speeches and stuff? Like he's not actually.
He's likely a brigadier general.
No, he's 4-star.
General.
Or is he 4-star? So that's
Yeah, he's just a general.
So he's not
Yeah,
even
it's
like
just-
the highest rank you could possibly attain in the military either, right?
No. That's the highest except for a 5-star, which is a commander of the United Forces.
Yeah, no.
So
he
would
is
that
a-
be
he
like
would
the equivalent of a field marshal over here, right? I guess
No,
5-star.
then I
Yeah.
was right. He would be a brigadier general.
Hmm.
Brigadier, major, lieutenant, general.
Yeah, no, he's a general. He's 4-star.
General's 1-star.
No. That's brigadier.
American
General 4-star general's just general.
So anyway, regardless, he's the spokesperson recently that's been in the news. They've been bringing him out onto the cameras to discuss the troops and also to lecture us on the critical race theory. This guy honestly thought that this terrible plan would would go ahead without a hitch. Well, didn't age quite so well as everybody's been saying. So
it could have fucking worked if it had been applied correctly the first time.
Obviously, yeah. So why did you want us to listen to that speech, Artemis? Do you want to tell the audience anything else?
So Millie is the person that was talking about the White Ridge. So he's the guy that wanted to read Mao communist literature and all this other jazz because their United States priorities, instead of being competent and useful, are all fucked up. So you have people who are claiming to know better than everybody else, being totally incompetent, because this was the guy that was in command of the withdrawal. He's the one who knew better.
Right. Yeah.
So also here, I went ahead and posted all of our nice aircraft that the Taliban have now taken from us.
Yeah, and also, as has been mentioned, let's not forget about the fact that fucking Marines are staffing a goddamn McDonald's.
Oh, I wasn't going to say that because fuck the Navy, just they're ass anyways.
Well, these are Marines; they're not the Navy.
Nah, same thing.
Well, no, not the same thing. I would trust a naval cookie to cook my McDonald's. I wouldn't trust a fucking Marine anywhere near my Big Mac.
Yeah, don't have a reputation for being stupid, basically, right?
Correct.
Look, your average Marine is intelligent enough to shoot the people you want him to shoot, throw grenades, and know when to take cover. They're not intelligent enough to be trained to do anything else. It's why we love them. It's also why we keep them the fuck away from anything else. It's why the Marines don't have their own doctors and don't have their own explosives experts. They can't be trusted with them.
So the truest sense of the word grunt.
I love them to death, but literally, yes.
It's funny because the Royal Marines are actually one of our most intelligent fighting personnel in the British Army, which is it makes sense. They used to be part of the Navy.
Then who are your squaddies?
Our squaddies are just in the regular armed forces. Well, squaddy is almost like a rank or like a slang term for private or something. I don't know. I'm not part of the military. I just know little things here and there. But the Royal Marines Commando are like amongst our best troops. And
but it is
they're not quite like the real.
Anytime you see Marines doing anything other than Marine shit.
At least the American Marines. The British Marines are
American
quite a lot of stuff. Yeah.
So here's another image I'm giving to you because
here's a good one. Here's a little funny comment here by Sadako. Hell no, I don't want no McForty ounce. I want real.
To be fair, that Taliban chopper that they've claimed looks like it's being a little stripped down and a little pared down, but it's not been fucking burnt out. Maybe we pulled off the spiciest of glowy tech, but that's not being freaking rendered to a point where I would consider leaving it behind.
Is that more stuff from so we've got another tweet here. I'll just pull
this one's a fucking fantastic tweet. You know that image that the Dr. Allegedly that Biden put out of him being kept advised of the situation at Camp David?
Oh, you mean the one where he literally revealed the faces of assets?
not just revealing the faces of glowies, but their locations as well.
He doxed people. The president of the United States doxed his own glowies.
Like we have a classified CIA compound in Doha that we have been constantly
fucking saying
what?
So it's declassified. The president has declassified it for us, so it's now able to be said.
You and I both know that it'll be at least another 3 months of bureaucracy before that's officially declassified. And since both of us hold security clearances.
Okay, PMC, calm down.
I'm British. I don't care.
You.
So there may or may not be a secret CIA compound that has been stated as not existing. The existence being debated and denied by the United States government has been suddenly confirmed by the United States government in tweets.
So,
By Biden.
shall I read the tweet?
Just read the thread.
Lol, White House just outed Doha Station. I'm sure the station chief, or their stand-in, appreciates having his face tweeted out along with Doha Station as the caption. Before you blame Biden, it's not unique to his staff. Clown show all around. Oh, is that Ope or Ope? I don't know what he wrote there. CIA, paging CIA. Please pick up the white courtesy telephone. This is proper clown world stuff, to be honest.
Yeah. So they had a high-res image. Sorry, a high-res photo.
Here it is. Yeah. Doha Station. It's in the Zoom call. Oh, no. They didn't think people would zoom in, did they?
No, so the issue is this is not even the totality of this image, right? If you back out and you go to the main image.
Oh yeah, I'll just do that. Yeah, I'll just reshare my screen because I thought that we were over. I heard that there was some Photoshop shenanigans.
No, it's not. It's not Photoshop.
It's not.
No. So it's not Photoshop because that'd just be a waste of time.
True,
because why would you Photoshop wrong time zones?
Here's the full.
So if you look above the TV, there are timestamps for all locations in the world on Zulu time. Well, not Zulu time, but local times for all those places. Yeah. And London and Russia are for some reason 3 hours apart from each other.
That only happens.
Yeah, it's like an hour.
Savings.
Yeah, it's only like an hour usually.
2 hours.
It's 2 hours on
London and Moscow.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Currently, it is only 2 hours apart, but during times of November and to March, they are 3 hours apart because of daylight savings time. So the issue here is that this is an old photo.
So he's and before people are like, oh, it's a plan, it's a plant, it's a plot, it's so on and so forth. OPSEC doesn't work in two directions; it works in one. We don't publicly release information that makes us look like idiots, because we already know that anything we release will be picked to fucking pieces by conspiracy theorists. So nothing that's ever been posted publicly has ever been an elaborate ruse.
I just love how on the picture it says CIA.
Yeah.
That's their username.
He needs
It's not the names of the two guys. It's just we're the CIA.
I'm loving your comments. American Dad did more tasteful CIA agent reveal. Got him. Killed jokes than the Biden admin did. Yes, the American Dad does have a couple of them. And also, British Knight is correct. You guys do not have the same luxury of attrition that the Americans have.
He said, Sir Adamantine, the friend of the channel, this is a US national disgrace. Also, British Knight, who's another friend, says that Squaddy, which I think I'm essentially what I said, but he's added a bit more detail. Squaddy just means in British parlance any rank from private to warrant officer class 1, but they're not usually used for warrant officers.
The commissioned officer version is a Rupert.
Yeah.
That is also a derogatory slang for any officer.
So
is that in America or in Britain?
Across militaries, no one will get you killed like a Rupert.
Yeah. So I got a chief that I call Mister from time to time because it's authorized.
It's true. If you call a chief sir, you will get bawled the fuck out.
Because he's not a sir.
I work for my goddamn paycheck.
But I also know Sir Adamantine. That's nifty that he's come by. I haven't seen him in like a while. But yeah, no, that's there's just cock up all around. Everything is fucking burning. It's a goddamn dumpster fire. It's fucking fantastic.
It is rare that I will say something like this. I could have done a better fucking job, and I never officially, while in the field, rose above the rank of E7.
E7, so
high enlisted.
High enlisted. So you were still essentially a private, but you were higher than others. Am I right?
He would be a platoon leader. I mean, a platoon sergeant.
So you'd be sergeant, essentially, yeah. NCO, right?
More specifically due to my technical skills. The lowest in EOD are E5, E6.
So
If they
you'd be like a
trust you
corporal?
with bombs and the lives of many other men, you have a commiserate rank so that a first sergeant can't get you killed by ordering you to do something that you know to be incorrect. It's one of the few things that the United States military kind of gets reasonably well. Technical specialists elevate to a certain point where it gets progressively harder to fuck with them because it keeps more and more people alive. It's the same reason that every sort of doctor is technically an officer, basically to stop other officers or other people from attempting to order them around.
So a lot of people have been talking about how this, you see the picture of the Chinook taking all the people away from the embassy, and they were comparing it to the fall of Saigon in 1975. With some people saying this is essentially like the death knell of the American empire, quote unquote. So I don't know what you guys think. Like, is this? If not, it's not the end. I don't think it's the end, but is it the beginning of the end?
I do have a
bad campaign.
I was gonna sort of attribute both points, and then I can kick it over to Artemis. I don't know that the American Empire was ever truly an actual empire. I think it
was what we would call in the history community indirect, but at various points you were more direct than say like other times. So like when you were controlling Cuba and the Philippines and stuff like that, that was an empire. But again, like your country's so large, it is technically could be considered one. There are empires that have been that large.
That's fair enough. I would say it might be the end of American expansionism, like American exploration without another like bold. It's the beginning of America slipping kind of into the background as the police state. More how we were, perhaps a return to America's Monroe Doctrine, but to the statement of this is the second Saigon. That's patently unfair because Saigon fell 2 years after the drawdown.
True enough, yeah.
Afghanistan didn't make 2 weeks.
This is worse. Also, I put another tweet for you to look at for the chat for everybody.
Let's just bring
when we're talking about the fall of Saigon. And you might find this funny, Dr. Allegedly. I sent you the same image.
Yeah.
Hang on a sec. I'm being a bit slow. There we are.
Mentally or physically?
Yes, British
Both.
Knight. When you don't have numbers, you make up for it with skill. We're well aware of it. The
Never
Russians
underestimate.
exemplified throw enough bodies at something.
150 British troops outfought 4,000 Zulus. It's not unheard of.
So you might have to zoom in a little bit to the on your image because the chat might be able to read
Although
that.
I will say that we did have guns, but the Zulus were not stupid fighters. But anyway, so what is Move says first a Getty image of Department of State Air Wing CH-46 N38. Oh, does that mean Chinook? Does it? All right.
Yep.
So what does Buno mean?
Huh?
What would a Buno be?
Model. It's a type of model number. It's for the specific build of it. It's for that specific aircraft.
So Chinook
it's
number
literally
46.
that Chinook, the 46th Chinook of N38TU is basically just an identifying number, possibly of the fleet or what it's attached to.
And the Buno number is the actual
unique
specific
identifier to that specific aircraft because a little secret, our like CH-46 doesn't actually go down as part of the fleet it's equipped with. If that chopper were taken out of action, another chopper becomes CH-46 and 38TU.
So actually, that's for the N38TU number. The CH-46 is the model type of the Chinook. For example, there are 47 Chinooks with 4 wheels or 3 wheels.
He's he's valid. There are multiple Chinooks to drop into each role, and everything except N38TU is, and the CH and N382U. Those two won't change until we phase out Chinooks.
Yeah,
which
so
is probably never happening.
So the important thing.
Why would you?
So the important thing is the serial number Buno 154038 is what is listed on the side of the aircraft as its specific aircraft identifier. So that'll follow that aircraft forever. So the important thing is that if you read that title.
Have you ever seen? I don't know if you guys were aware. Like, I just will go off topic a little bit, but there was
you're not going to read.
You trust me. You want to get back on topic.
Okay, right. Well, I was going to say that because we're talking about Chinooks, that we used Chinooks a few years ago to plug a dam that was almost breaking. It was fascinating to see it just drop stuff on.
They are the world's greatest multitask air.
Definitely, yeah. I'll just bring it back up. Sorry about that. I just thought I'd go off topic a bit.
Yeah, you want to read that tweet because it's fucking.
The reason we were harping on the number 154038, which remains with that aircraft.
Oh, it's the same one as the USS. Yeah.
I mean, not only does the Chinook have magnificent longevity. Like,
is it the same one?
That is literally what that number means. That is the number given to it when it was assembled, and that number would be with it until it comes out. So
it's older than all three of us.
So yes. A round of applause for the durability and reliability of the Chinook Air Corps. Really, just fantastic craft.
Look, aircraft. This one, got to evacuate personnel again.
Yeah. So for the chat, what we're saying and what we're pointing out is that this specific aircraft.
Yeah, there's a close up of its number.
Yeah, the Marine aircraft, the Marine Chinook,
took part in the evacuation of the embassy in Saigon, like almost 50 years ago. And is currently evacuating Kabul embassy now.
I'm just saying,
the pilot and the crew probably changed, but that Chinook just so reliable, folks. So reliable.
What's that? What's the ship that gets replaced? But it's still just the same ship. I can't remember what it's called.
I know what you mean. It's the ancient Greek one, isn't it?
The ship of Theseus.
Yeah, Theseus ship.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's a little bit like the Navy's cribbage board, which always remains aboard the longest serving submersible.
Yeah, but just like the B-52, the Chinooks are very reliable, a very simple machine, so they last a very long time. So
they've got redundant. Fucking everything. One main rotor can go down.
Yeah,
and it'll still fly.
A little. You won't die, but this is the. So the statement here is that it's likely the same aircraft because it's really hard to see the image of the Vietnam era photo. But that is just surprising that the same model took place.
This is something you can't do on purpose. This is only something.
This is some fucky simulation breaking down shit. Yeah. So when people say that,
I'm inclined to believe that it is actually correct.
I would say that it's for the most part the same helicopter.
So this one might actually be 3.0 as opposed to 3.8, but the difference is these model numbers are sequential. So if it is not the Chinook, it is within
one of the
production runs of that Chinook, and they don't build these one at a time if needed. They're built in batches of 20 to 30, if I recall.
Yeah, the assembly line. But there's like 12 of these on that fucking flight deck, so
it's probably there.
Yeah. So
Should I
when
stop
people
sharing now?
say, yeah, go ahead. So when people say history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes, I'm of the opinion that it just repeats itself.
I mean, I
would
think
say
it
it's a bit of
repeats
both.
itself in a limited fashion. Limited to the B-52, the A-10, the Chinook. Air
And the
Force
French.
history repeats itself.
And the French are always surrendering, obviously. Let's not forget that.
So does anybody want to see what the Taliban are up to right now in
Oh,
Kabul?
yes. Let's see what our old friends are up to.
Is there
Okay.
more videos of them pumping iron, pumping mediocre iron? That is
Nope.
the one thing I can say. I go harder than in the gym than the Taliban.
Nope. It's actually funny.
Oh, I know Poe. We follow each other. Hang on. Oh
Well,
my God. You
I
can't.
frankly
This is
don't
more
know
Clown World
why
shit.
that war asset was not instantly denied to them.
Yeah. This is a war crime. We should have blown that up.
All I'm saying is glass that. Look at this, guys. This is Clown World. Welcome to the 21st century. You can't hear it, but they're basically, they're just on dodgems.
You mean bumper carts, you fucking communist.
Dodgems. You bloody colonial.
Uh-huh. That's not an insult. So this is the people that took over Afghanistan. Congratulations, guys.
I mean,
that's
these people do. Actually, no, I don't think these people could take over my local Krispy Kreme simply because the police would show up to defend that.
I think the Krispy Kreme is probably more armed.
Yeah, especially in Texas. But yeah, no, this is what our local Taliban are up to. Just fucking having fun, waiting for the Americans to leave.
Apparently, Dankula's been LARPing as a Taliban.
Yeah, because the fucking one of the leaders looks exactly like his ass.
Does he? Oh, I need to see
Yeah.
that.
Well,
That's what his image is. That's the image he's using.
Yeah, Al. What is it? Dank Al.
There was a Sameh Harry, whatever it was, Taliban.
Sama
Harris
El
one.
Haid.
That's it,
Oh, yeah.
Haid. Yeah.
He must be stopped. We can't keep letting him get away with this.
He's the world's worst criminal. How many mass shootings, how many terrorist attacks has he committed?
All of them. It was Saima El Haid, then right under him, Bin Laden.
He did Lockerbie, he did 9/11, he did 7/7.
Christchurch.
Yeah,
He
you
was
just can't
even
keep
in-
getting away with it.
He was even in Spain. He's even part of the whole Basque stuff that was going on there.
Yeah.
Count
you,
Atola Al Dankula.
Count Atola Al Dankula.
Yeah,
That
Count
colour.
Atola Al Dankula.
That's
is,
like a mix of different cultures there. So you got like Persian with the Ayatollah thing. Then you got the
He's truly
Arabic name.
diverse.
Truly.
the greatest of all imams.
Bridging one of the biggest divides in the Middle East, the Persians
So-
versus the Arabs.
Yes,
What-
bridging them as the West stares at the great bridge betwixt his balls and his anus.
Yeah.
With
So,
his fantastic plug, Buddha.
So to get back on a little bit more serious
Yes.
note before we wrap everything up, I sent you something. So China has put out a statement for the withdrawal.
Please tell me they're committing forces. Please.
No,
Oh,
they're doing
fuck
they're,
up.
they're doing the smart thing.
Staying
What?
out.
No,
Blaming Biden.
No, wait, no, they're trading with the Taliban. That's what they're doing. China state media mocked the US withdrawal in Afghanistan, saying the Taliban takeover was more smooth than the presidential transition.
I mean,
So-
Reddit checks out. The Reddit checks out.
Fact check.
yes.
Fact check.
So,
True.
No,
Yeah,
/technically the truth.
Technically
yeah.
the truth. Yeah.
so China's just sitting there laughing their ass off, making fun of the United States
Hmm.
for its colossal cock up.
The
Also,
thing is, they would
To
do a
be
worse
fair,
job.
it's not the United States. It's the upper echelons of the U.S. military
Hmm.
and Biden.
I mean, again, they would actually cock it up even worse. Let's be honest. To
Oh,
be fair to America.
I
So here-
honestly don't think that Biden or the Chinese would screw it up, simply because they would just go in and slaughter everyone.
Yeah, well, that's fair. But the more important thing is the second thing I have now listed.
All right, I'll just get that up as well.
Plus,
As
the
China-
Chinese
Oh,
have
my
their
favorite
own...
state-run media, the Global Times.
Yeah. So China has made not only a statement on Afghan, but also a statement towards Taiwan.
I don't think they'll even succeed in conquering that.
I
At least for a
mean-
little while, they might.
I mean, at the way Taiwan is probably watching this shit show going down, I'm thinking they're questioning whether or not they're going to be saved.
Well,
I don't know.
The savior of Taiwan will probably be the Japanese.
And the Koreans and the Filipinos, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
countries around there. To be fair,
Other people, at which point the U.S. will be
I mean-
forced by necessity to engage.
even
So
my
if you want-
country can still project force in that area. Believe it or not.
So if you want to watch a class of an empire, if we fail to protect Taiwan, the
Hmm.
United States will collapse.
That's the end.
But I don't think like the world will suddenly become like China dominated. I actually
It will.
It
I
will.
I don't know. They don't have the navy for it at the moment.
It
They
it
don't
doesn't
need
matter
one.
because all the production is ran through China.
True enough, yeah.
The,
But
the
thing
moment
is-
the United States backs down and lets Taiwan get taken, we can no longer.
but what I will say is this: they're tied to you like Siamese twins.
The
If you go, they go.
No,
not really.
it-
The U.S. would take, and the best time to start would have been 5 years ago. The next best time to start would be today. The third best would be tomorrow. The U.S. would take 5 to 10 years to restart effective manufacturing.
Yeah, but
If-
the issue
The U.S. can restart effective manufacturing, then all the other points become moot. Then it becomes you can pay more and trade with the U.S., but you're free of China. Oh, and the U.S. has the Navy to counteract any blockades or suspected trade embargoes.
Yeah, the issue is that the Pacific theater would be lost during that time, where all of the countries of the Philippines, the Sri Lanka, Thailand, all those countries that are U.S. reliant, as in they take orders from the U.S. basically, would shift allegiances to China as the United States fails to protect them.
They wouldn't
And-
necessarily be lost. I mean, Guam, Okinawa, these other places would, if we somehow launched, and if we stood up and launched an actual counteroffensive, it would not be lost.
I mean, Guam would definitely get annihilated off the map.
I disagree.
Well, they would.
There's
China-
enough metal in Guam that the total dedication of resources to take Guam
They wouldn't take it.
They could take it, but not
So-
without severe cost.
No. Their plan was to bombard it with ballistic missiles to make sure that it cannot be used as a seaborne carrier.
It's. I mean, there are other. Although I don't know why they decommissioned them. There are other decommissioned flotilla-style islands that could have done it.
Yeah, sure, but they would
there's
never
enough-
take Guam. They would just blow it up constantly.
There's enough steel and men around Guam to, even if they bombarded the actual landing strips, there's enough manpower and logistics and everything else to make them pay dearly for it if we made a concerted effort.
Yeah, but we've already moved most of our aircraft wings off of Guam because we think that they have the capacity to blow us up. That's already been done.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's enough steel and men around there that they can't disregard Guam, but if they dedicate everything to Guam, they're going to get blindsided.
So
The problem is you need an aggressive commander who's aware that we're going to take a punch, but this is a counter-punching scenario.
Yeah, but we don't
So-
have any currently in command that would do that because they're all like Millie.
Unironically, we need a MacArthur. We need
need
someone who's
Patton.
putting his chin out.
You need
Pat-
Patton. That's what you need.
Patton
You-
led aggressively. You need someone
who
who
was
will-
who was the commander for for the Korean
that was
conflict?
MacArthur.
MacArthur, yeah.
Yeah, that's why you need
I
MacArthur.
need 5 nukes.
and then trucks with Cobalt 60 spreaders.
Yeah, but
Glass the entire valley, salt it with radioactive Cobalt 60 so that nothing can step in nor grow in that place for 30 years.
yeah. So the importance of this tweet is that China is telling Taiwan that the United States said that we would not abandon Afghanistan, which we did. And they're saying that we're putting you on notice that they're going to abandon you too. Now, I've already theorized that China will make moves with Taiwan in the next 6 months anyways, because of the weakening position of the United States at an ever greater pace.
Well, again, he's their man, isn't he? Beijing, Biden. Let's not forget.
Yeah, possible. It's before I would have more strongly disagreed with Artemis. I think that this message. I disagree. I don't think this message is for Taiwan. I think this message is for the United States.
Yeah, why do
the
it in English?
Taiwanese people have never held any illusions about Beijing or Xi Jinping or any of that shit. I don't think this demoralizes the Taiwanese.
Well, not demoralizing, but they do. China likes to just send out these shit posts across.
This is
but
for
this
you guys,
shit post isn't for Taiwan. This shit post is for the United States.
And by extension, my country and other Western countries as well, by extension.
Well, I mean, if Britain had the Navy to rush to Hong Kong's aid, China would not be anywhere near as bold.
We do.
You don't have the Suez anymore. You don't have the Suez Canal. You have no clear passage.
I mean, they do have one. They do have. They have one aircraft carrier fleet in the two. No, you have one.
Two aircraft carriers. Yeah, sorry, I thought you said fleet, and I'd already interrupted you. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
but we can still project
force. No, you have one aircraft carrier currently in the China Sea.
Yeah. But we can project force. It's just not to the same extent as you guys can.
You can project force, but it's a potentially Pyrrhic force. Yes, Seal, you're correct. The United States is to blame for the loss of the Suez. Had you had the Suez,
Portrait Seal makes a good point. You should have let us and the French do it. Because the Soviets ended up taking it over. Let's be honest.
So here's another thing I posted. This also goes into the ever increasing decline of the United States. OPEC said to get fucked.
it's I mean this falls back on Biden closing the fucking Keystone pipeline. That's what it's gonna take. Is he's gonna have to either cuck and open it, or we're just fucked.
Yeah. So
do you want me to read this out?
Yeah, go for it.
Hang on a sec, let's get rid of this EU crap. I'm not in the EU anymore. God.
Get fucked.
OPEC, and let's read the headline first. OPEC Plus sees no need to meet US call for more supply. Oh yeah, because if I remember correctly, Biden's gone cap in hand saying, please, can I have some more? If you've ever seen Oliver.
Yeah, because he literally closed down the Keystone pipeline. We would have been set. And he's closed all the other ways we could have exposed for more oil.
OPEC and its allies, including Russia, believe oil markets do not need more oil than they plan to release in the coming months, despite US pressure to add supplies to check an oil price rise, 4 sources told Reuters. The price of international benchmark Brent crude has risen 35% this year towards $70 a barrel, driven by economic recovery from the pandemic and supply restraint by the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its partners in the alliance known as OPEC+. Last week, US President Joe Biden's administration urged the producer group to boost output to tackle rising gasoline prices it sees as a threat to the global economic recovery. We don't need to read more. OPEC Plus agreed in July to boost output by 400,000 barrels per day a month, starting in August until its current oil output reductions of 5.8 million barrels per dollar, is it? I think that is BPD.
Well, how much?
BPD, is that barrel per dollar?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are fully phased out. Hey, get me. I can guess this stuff. So one of the four sources speaking on condition of anonymity told Reuters there was no need to release extra oil more quickly, while another said there was no concern that the planned schedule of increases would leave any demand unmet. Two other OPEC Plus sources said the latest data from OPEC and from the West's energy watchdog, the International Energy Agency, IEA, also indicated there was no need for extra oil. Calling for more can be seen as at odds with the United States' efforts to lead efforts to fight climate change and its action to discourage increased domestic oil drilling. But Biden's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, criticized big drilling nations, including Saudi Arabia, for what he said were insufficient crude production levels in the aftermath of the global COVID-19 pandemic. At a critical moment in the global recovery, this is simply not enough, he said. The statement revived memories of how the previous US administration dealt with OPEC, when President Donald Trump threatened to withdraw military support from OPEC's leader, Saudi Arabia, if it did not boost supply. OPEC Plus implemented a record output of 10 million barrels per day, about 10% of world demand, last year, when energy use slumped because restrictions to control the pandemic limited travel and halted economic output. The producer group has since been gradually increasing output. OPEC Plus is scheduled to hold another meeting on September 1st to review policy. 3 of the 4 sources said more data would become available closer to the meeting and guide OPEC's next decision. US gasoline prices are running about $3.18 a gallon at the pump, up more than $1 from this time last year. Figures from the American Automobile Association, blah, 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 blah. That's wow. That's crazy.
You don't need to read the rest of it. So the meat takeaway here is OPEC used to do what the United States says because the United States, the literal military influence of OPEC. You know, that's why they only sell oil in dollars.
Sorry.
So the fact that OPEC is saying no, we're not going to do that, even because the United States wants to increase the supply to drive down the price of oil in the United States and gas in the United States. That's the whole reason. The fact that they said no means that they no longer fear the United States.
Yeah, and it's because we're not committed to our own energy fucking independence.
Yep. So the fact that this is continuing in an ever increasing loss of prestige and influence around the world is why I'm saying we got about 6 months before we're going to war with China.
Although, do you not think 6 months is pushing it for the Chinese? Do you think maybe that's too early? Maybe they should wait for more decline?
We just saw the fall of the Afghan.
True.
In less than a week.
But that was more to do with bad planning than it necessarily was absolute decline.
It was strategic fucking incompetence.
Yeah, incompetence. But that doesn't mean that in the war with China that could happen. You know,
it does though.
I mean, it will be bound to happen because, you know, it's war.
So, unbeknownst to you, I think you probably have heard of this, but the United States has been training its military forces differently recently.
More diverse, more CRT.
As in, we're not training war fighters anymore.
Yeah, like our personnel no longer have to meet a physical fitness standard that's useful.
That's wow. I mean, it paints a depressing picture, but we do have some other things that you showed me that I'll just show up, which is, I know, depending on your opinion, this is either whatever or like, damn, this is really bad. So we'll just show you this. Hang on a sec.
Yes, British, I do think we're going to go to war with China really soon.
Journalist Bernie Gores executed in Kabul by Taliban soldiers. We are working with US officials to get several more journals out of Afghanistan at this time. Our thoughts are with Bernie's family. CNN journalist dead.
Here's the real question for you, Artemis, though. Do you think we'll lose?
Do I think we'll lose? No.
I think we'll win, but at a greater cost than.
It'll be a Pyrrhic victory, I think.
No, I am almost 100% sure Biden will, for some reason, pass away from old age during the start of this conflict.
You know what? You think Kamala's got the stones to lead, or
I
she'll
am pretty
also-
sure she takes after Hillary Clinton more than anything else. So
she's a hawk?
Yeah.
You think?
oh yes.
Yeah, but the problem is, it doesn't matter if she's a hawk if there's no fucking no fucking war fighters to fight it.
Well, that's,
Or do you
that's
think
the thing.
she's gonna just pop in and go, fuck all this shit? We're going back to World War II era. 3 weeks to train them.
So if we go to war with China, it will be a world war, because at that point China believes that it has the capacity to take out the United States. And at this point, with a massively incompetent leader, this would be the best time, because after Biden, the entire Democratic Party believes that they have no chance of winning the next election, because nobody is. Kamala is the worst vice president in U.S. history.
Well, even
she's
with all
the
the potential chicanery that they might
yes,
do.
even with all that, because the Republicans are hardening the elections in their own states to where the shenanigans won't be pulled again.
See, I keep saying that, but people refuse to believe me, and I'm like, no, you can only pull tricks like that once.
Yes, which is why they're going so hot and heavy on all this draconian bullshit all right now, is because they don't believe that they're going to win the next election.
Do they not appreciate how terrible the fucking snapback or recoil is going to be?
Yeah, no. But again, I'm pretty sure that China and all of the other adversaries and or enemies of the United States are going to look at this event of Afghanistan and go, we should probably do whatever we're going to do now.
So anyway, the doc also sent me something interesting, a very important source that everybody needs to know. This is really important statistics for Afghanistan, guys. You know. Little did you know, it wasn't the Taliban. It was Yeb who won.
Jesus Christ.
Absolutely annihilated. Yeb victory. Decisive Yeb victory, as Wikipedia would say.
Yeah, I mean...
That was a good meme.
I guess one could say that the resurgence of the American Empire comes with the Third World War.
If there will be one. Because I wouldn't say that a war with China would be a world war, because it would only be set in a very particular theater, and China can't really project their military into other continents at the moment.
So China, the thing people misunderstand with war with China is China's not going to win in any capacity, but they are going to make everyone else pay for it.
Mm-hmm. Much like with the pandemic, in a sense.
Yeah, but China doesn't care about. China does not care about the short-term winning and losing. It's just enough to fuck up everybody else, because China, again, does not care about its own people anyways.
China will die with Xi Jinping and the older members of the party.
Well, I mean, if you find somebody good enough to take him,
he wouldn't trust anyone.
Well, no, but he'll have to. There'll have to be somebody more Xi Jinping than Xi Jinping to take over.
Yeah, not likely to happen.
I mean, never say never. There's 1.6 billion of them.
Yeah, but you don't think he's actively looking for the most Xi Jinping individuals out there?
What do you mean?
Yeah, correct. I would say yes and no, but it doesn't technically matter in the short term, because our government has just reevaluated the possible time frame for China overtaking our country by 15 years earlier. So now it's in 2032 or some shit, just for this latest fiasco.
See, I actually think it's going to be a more multipolar world. Like they were claiming, the world's a multipolar world in the 90s or whatever it was. No. that was a one-horse race for a long time after the Soviets collapsed. But I think we could end up returning to a kind of great power, kind of balance of power type situation like it was in the 19th and early 20th centuries. I could really see that, because I don't think China will become the world hegemon. And if they do, I don't think it would last long. I think India would catch up with them.
You know what I think will be
could,
the actual sort of break and the actual sort of resetting for the world.
Mm-hmm.
It will be sort of China going off. It will be China going off and asserting their dominance, and it'll be the global elites learning that they cannot have played this game. They can't have moved manufacturing out to our opposition, our enemies, and still be able to kind of keep everything they wanted at the end. Because the Chinese nationals are buying land outside of China, but they're still loyal to China.
Yeah, they're doing it in my city right now as we speak.
Well,
yeah,
but
they're doing it in the United States.
Down. Yeah, but fortunately, and hopefully, it should continue to be closed down and shut down. These globalists will realize, oh shit, there's this all open borders and all moving all my business kind of doesn't work when not everyone's willing to play by the same fucking rule set.
Mm-hmm.
So the issue is that you have to have some type of reawakening of priorities in the West to have a multipolar power, dynamic, and that's not happening.
No, you'd have to get rid of the current elites and replace them with somebody else.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen unless there's a lot of blood involved.
Yeah, it will happen, but it will happen far too slow and too late.
Correct. So thinking of the idea that there's going to be a multipolar power system is irrelevant because China will overtake the United States long before that.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, they probably will become the hegemon, but whether or not they'll last long in it,
No. So what's going to happen is that the United States will refuse to let go. So because without the military, right? The United States does not have anything currently because we foregoed all of our manufacturing to China, which was a strategic goal of China to begin with. So if the United States gets overtaken by military means, we will go to war to make sure that whatever country has those means will go away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the World War kicks off.
That's why, like I said, it takes 5 to 10 years, and starting now would be a great fucking idea to bring back American manufacturing. And we're actually...
Or just Western in general, really.
Well, no, actually, one of the surprising industries where we've managed to keep things domestic is firearms manufacturing and ammo manufacturing. We are it's one of the reasons why a land invasion of the U.S. kind of wouldn't work, because there are two things we still make in the United States: food and firearms,
burgers and bullets.
Unironically, that's why you couldn't really invade the U.S. because the one thing we can manufacture, and people are like, oh, but you could destroy arms factories, and I'm like, my local gunsmith makes AKs and ARs.
So the projection of the date to overtake the United States is the time frame in which they will have enough military equipment to do so, which is boats, armadas, aircraft carriers, and the like.
So I think we'll be going nearly 2 hours now. I think we should. Yep. Have we got anything else we need to cover? Or is that everything? Would you say, guys?
I'm pretty sure I will have, whenever I go back to work in the second half of the week, I will probably have more, and I'll just send it to you.
Cheers.
I mean, the takeoff is things are very dark right now. It's true, and they're going to get darker. But now is not the time for dooming. Now is the time to prepare thyself for rougher seas ahead. But there is a dawn on the horizon.
All I know is I have a lot of job security.
So will I as well at some point. So anyway, guys, that's the end of the stream. We've been going for 2 hours. Thanks to Artemis for the idea of the stream. Without him, this wouldn't have happened. And thank you for Dr. Allegedly. We finally met and had a chat, and it's been very good. It was very interesting insight from someone from a veteran and also a man who's not a veteran, but he works as a contractor. It's good to get the glowy and the squaddy reactions. And
No, I was in the military too.
Oh wait,
I still talk about.
Oh,
Yeah, I still talk about it.
all right. So if you don't mind me asking before we go, like what
I do.
Oh, okay. We don't need to discuss that. All right. So anyway,
Correct.
guys, is it glowy?
We'll never know.
Anyway,
Oh, that's the typical fucking glowy answer.
exactly. We'll never know.
Actually, the actual typical glowy answer is, nah, I just fill up trucks, man.
I just fill up the truck, man. You know, I'm just following orders. But anyway, guys.
Yeah, literally, I just refueled shit.
I never get past lower enlisted. Don't worry.
I just do cybersecurity, man. Anyway, see you later, guys. We're done.